it still has, I think, a little bit of hidden gems in terms of some of the strategies. At the moment, it is still the newest map added to the map pool, which, yes, it has been added to the map pool whenever it did get released almost 9 months ago. But still, I think there's a lot of places untouched and a lot of strategies that we haven't seen yet. An interesting one that I've started to see teams do a lot in terms of their attacking for Villa would be on the trophy and statuary room, where on the attacks, we see a lot of teams put a lot of pressure in towards that observatory. A place that we've kind of seen untouched. Typically, the strategy was for the statuary and trophy was open up wall, you push in, you plant. That's the standard as it was. But now teams have put in a lot of utility. We've seen Jackals go below to try and shotgun someone in behind observatory desk. We didn't really see that until this season. So still, Villa is always adapting as one of those newer maps, which has a lot of capabilities, a massive, massive map. Has so much room potential, has 4 multiple bomb sites. Sure, library is weaker than a lot of them. But yeah, Villa is basically a playground for teams who want to be unique in their playstyle.
There's some interesting bans coming out here. Like, the defense bans are pretty standard, but the Ashe and the Ying, I mean, Ying's pretty good across the board. It's interesting that we see the Ashe ACOG removed, and we've seen a 100% ban rate so far today.
Maybe they just don't want to see alive.
I think they're scared of the G36.
Scared of the G36.
It's a scary gun.
I don't know about the G36, because it just kind of seems to me like it kind of falls in line with other assault rifles now. Ashe is no longer that massive powerhouse where she can challenge you from any angle with an R4C that had no recoil, even with the ACOG, which I think is the reason why they removed the ACOG. Is simply because maybe if the ACOG had a lot of recoil with it, similar to what we see with the Buck, similar with the C8, then maybe it would be okay. But just because it was a gun which had no weaknesses whatsoever, that's why we see the ACOG get removed.
Maybe. Clash is a pretty standard ban here. I remember talking to Shaz a little bit about this, like, especially on those long hallways that Villa has, like, a decent amount of. They can really slow you down, and you have to do a lot of work to push a Clash out of those positions. Like, it's not enough to just have a Capitao and a Zofia. In those situations, you have to, like, introduce vertical play and nades and things like that. So, I'm not sure. I'd like to see that. I'm liking the Blackbeard here. I mean, Supremacy play quite a lot of Blackbeard, so it's not massively different. You also see the Nomad bringing in, which, Nomad's still, I think, a little bit more back. She's still very good. Like, don't get me wrong, you still see a lot of Nomad bans, especially in Pro League. I don't know. What do you think of Nomad here?
I think she has her certain aspects on particular maps. Map that comes to mind is Consulate, a map which has a lot of run-out potential. If you just fire those air jabs at the more known angles, then you kind of have a safe window play. For example, you can... I think another reason why they're bringing Nomad and Blackbeard is to also use that in a counter. Blackbeard has always been a window guy. He loves sitting on those windows, you can't challenge him from any angle. But then having the Nomad to fire those air jabs, to disallow those jump outs, where, if Blackbeard's going to be in a window, he's not moving, he's stuck there the entire map. So the only thing you can do to get him off it is go for a quick jump out.
Oh no, Alive gonna look at his doom. That is unfortunate.
Hold on a minute, James. Isn't there a certain letter on the keyboard that we press to pay respects?
Yeah. Everyone in the chat, you can actually press F, and that will signify that you're paying your respects to Alive. Wow, that is like the pinnacle of IQ play. I'm really surprised he didn't shoot, considering that the thing that he was scanning was moving. Like, at that point, you've got to know it's either a visual or a pulse, right?
Yeah, certainly getting rid of that C4 early on, I think, is great, because we've seen Nitro Cells in the past have stopped the plant. It's basically lost you around. In this scenario, they still got the first blood. They still managed to get that refrag straight off from K6. Lobby, also on the roam game, just by himself over an AVG, will find himself a kill onto the big old Blackbeard, losing a gunfight. Quite surprising from the Navy SEAL operator, but still Sloppy. He can start ramping up the kills, and maybe if this young man gets a bit of confidence by himself, then this could be the bane against Supremacy.
That's a really weird Nomad that K6 is. I assume it's just to make sure that he stays in place and goes like into cover. But there we go. Sloppy is going to pick a kill. But it's going to be a 4v2. It's not looking too good for the attack. They still have control, but Sloppy is going to miss the shots. Can't see anything just yet, and his wall is reinforced. You could play around that quite easy. He goes for the drop shot, and he does get it. What is that? Sloppy
what is this?
K6. Poseidon does manage to trade it out onto Sloppy, but it's a 3v1. Poseidon does have control of the diffuser, but doesn't have control of flashbang remaining. Tries to get yet another kill. He sees that it is a soft wall, but no. Didn't hear the impact go off. Panics will take him down. And game 18, round number 1.
Oh, Sloppy going back to year 3, season 1. You know, that's literally what it used to be about, was the drop shots, and somehow he still makes it work. EnD Gaming just won their gunfights. There's nothing really you can say but that. I think that Supremacy, as soon as they lost their IQ and they lost, you know, a kill which shouldn't have happened, let's be real, that shouldn't be a thing. An IQ literally looks at the nitrocell. She should just run away. As soon as you see, you know, a heartbeat sensor disappear, and then all of a sudden you see some electronic device flying at you, that should be the go-ahead to, oh, I better run. But she just, again, she just looked at it, which was a big misstep for them. But still, Sloppy playing as that lone roamer. They didn't put enough pressure on actually taking control of Villa. If I'm going to play Villa, I always would like to see a team sweep from one side of the map straight through to the other. Because that means you have nothing that goes against you for the final execute.
I think there's kind of just two ways to play it. I mean, you can play it like that, where you can go... It's like Oregon, in a way, right?
Yeah.
The way that you clear it. So you can go from, like, one side, where you just go for the full roam clear. Or, really, you can just go straight for the site. I mean, the big advantage of having a really defender-sided map is if you put the plant down, it's super hard to retake.
Yeah, because in that scenario, the attackers become defenders, and then the defenders become the attackers, which is always going to be difficult. And whenever the defenders don't really have that much utility compared to attackers, the attackers have frag grenades, flashbangs, smoke grenades as well. The defenders don't really have that. You know, what's a Maestro Cam going to do in the retake? Not a lot.
Yeah, no, that is very true. And also, imagine probably playing on site anyway, so you're probably dead at that point.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate. But we're going to see there again, Supremacy. Argus is going to be trying to take exactly from where the site is. I don't necessarily like doing this on this particular site, especially the fact that we still have a pulse on the board as well. And we've seen pulse used really effectively today. And I still think on Villa, he's even worse to deal with because there's a lot of soft destruction here.
Yeah, Villa's another map which has just a huge amount of destructibility. I'm pretty sure I counted that every room, bar I think 3, are all destructible.
Yeah, and you also
Villa,
have the entire basement to roam through as well. Like, you can stay on the room for ages.
Yes. It's a really good tactic bringing a buck whenever you know the bomb sites in and out. And certainly on a bomb site like AVG, there is numerous angles that we like to see anchors kind of favor for themselves, where they just sit back, relax, don't really do much. So yeah, I'm liking the buck pick anyway, but that buck's not going to be doing anything if they cannot take control of the downstairs, where there is going to be numerous roamers lurking about. Sloppy already has fallen, but still panics on the pulse. He's still there, alive, against alive. However, alive has completely left that pulse to do his own business, as they are possibly looking just to push their way into the bomb site. Panics still on the pulse, will try and get as much intel as he can. But for the meantime, Alive will start fucking up Panics. But still, he has nerves of steel as he stands strong against ever-presence of a buck.
They might just assume that they've just cleared everything out, unless they definitely know some pulse down there. But they're definitely going to know now, as the nade does come through. Panics is going to throw out C4, doesn't find his mark, however, in K6 from the other side is going to pick him up for free. That's that pulse gun. That's elation gun. It's a 1v5 in Tactis. Is going to shut down Torok. He's got Blooded Shield very effectively. Supremacy will take round number 2 in a very kind of weird roam clear, I thought.
They kind of like didn't know what they wanted to do. I think there was a portion where, yes, they knew it was a roamer, but I don't think they knew it was a pulse. So as soon as they got the intel saying, hold on a minute, it's actually a pulse below, we cannot push until we do that. Then that's whenever they literally free-man pushed that rumor, and that's the outcome that happened. So yes, Supremacy, They see the weaknesses in their own attacks, and they are going to try and stamp them out before they do anything in terms of going for the bomb site. Of course, we know that they have fraggers. They have the capability of taking the gunfights to player of EnD. But at the same time, there's players in EnD who can do the same. They have great fraggers. They have Panics, who he kind of speaks for himself. He has great aim, great reflexes. And then Sloppy, who still is going to be that madman, I think, for EnD, who just run around and does what he wants.
Yeah, apparently so. Apparently this man is allowed to drop shot people as well, which is absolutely mind-boggling in my opinion. But yeah, we definitely do see a lot of that go down. Moving forward, and we were going to see a lot of both, as you said. The IQ, I really don't think has been used that effectively coming out.
Well, I think the only reason why they're bringing IQ, it's kind of a rule of thumb that a lot of teams like to take, is if there's going to be a Valkyrie and an Echo available, you always bring the IQ, because there is always that possibility where both of them could be chosen. And also, there's other gadgets that still are great utility-wise against the IQ scanner. You know, there is also going to be Legion, who can place those goo mines down, alive with the easiest kill so far he's gotten, just an unsuspecting smoke. A smoke already dead?
Yeah, that is horrific. That may actually just be round winning right there and then. Like, to lose a smoke that early on is absolutely devastating. Having not really done anything in the round, he will go down, and
IQ,
yeah, now it's a 5v4.
Coming in big. That Valkyrie camera underneath the bed. That's one that I seen. I thought, wow, this is amazing. It's where you can go below, you shotgun below the bed, and you can toss a Valkyrie camera that sticks to the end of it. So that means you cannot see the Valkyrie camera unless you bring an IQ, which in this scenario, it has worked well for Supremacy. However, on the other side of the map, on the flip side, they have also lost their bucks. That destructibility factor, the frag grenades, will not come into any play inside of this round.
Also, like, a big way of trying to deal with your Maestros has been nades across the board from both teams, really. So, yeah, I don't think this is going to go very, very well in terms of actually pushing the site, considering they haven't really done much damage, but still got Nitros. Panics. And we still see Sparxo trying to play the way he can as well. Push does come through into the bathroom. Sparxo should be pretty prepared for this as well, as Tactics going to throw some drones ahead of it. But there's no Blackbeard from Supremacy this time. So, it could be pretty bad to see this go down, and considering they don't really have the utility to actually break all the ADSs down below, I don't know about the pushing power right now from Supremacy.
Supremacy, they still have the Sophia, can possibly fire in one more lifeline, but no, just going to hold the angles from that X-Kairos hole that they have. However, Panic has managed to salvage the kill on the K6, which is an important one, because that does give EnD the upper hand going into this final 40 seconds. Sloppy holding the long angle will eliminate the Jews, and Poseidon, the old man, what can he do? 1 versus 3. Wonder if his
I've seen him clutch out these rounds before. I wouldn't put him out of it.
Wonder if his old legs will run out of steam. Maybe he has to go back to the retirement home. These are just, I think, old man jokes that I use against Dez. They kind of, you know, work both ways.
But he's got the drone info from the stairs, so he actually has a decent chance of taking this gunfight, but he's really going to find one. He does 2 flashbangs off remaining, will make his way into the site, but no! Floppy will shut him down. Not with a drop shot this time. Shot, but in gaming, regardless, we'll take round number 3. And, yeah. I just feel like from Supremacy, there was no pushing power from them, right? We didn't see any... We saw a smoke early pick, but other than that, there was nothing to capitalize off the smoke going down. Like, the smoke goes down, you should be able to push off that quite quickly, and the longer that the Legion is allowed to survive in that position, the more difficult it's going to get to push that position, even with an IQ.
It seems to be that if Alive isn't there to make those challenges, nobody from Supremacy wants to hear tell of it. Nobody else wants to actually be that first man in. They don't want to be that first entry where they put themselves at the forefront of everybody at EnD. Alive has been the only one who just goes, okay, I'll kill them. And that's what he does. But in that scenario, loses his 1v1 gunfight. That's another thing you have to keep in mind. If Alive isn't there getting the frags, who from Supremacy is?
Yeah, that's definitely very true. Like, I'm just trying to think about Supremacy's strategy here, because they seem to be all over the place with what they want to do. We saw that during their opening attack win, where they were practically in the site, and then they rotate like 3 people downstairs to catch the pulse out and catch 2 roamers downstairs. So, I don't know, their drone info seems to be good, but I don't know where their comms seem to be very hectic at the moment. They seem to be really all over the place with what they actually want to do during the round. What do you think's the factor here that's happening?
I think it's a little bit of nervousness, and they're still relatively unknown. You know, we don't have that same, you know, VOD review compared to other teams. Like, there's a lot of information on the 4 teams that came in through the playoff qualifiers, because they were all cast that there's a lot of stuff to go off on. We really haven't seen EnD gaming play with this roster apart from last week, which is a scary aspect to have nonetheless. So, certainly the analysts and coaches for Supremacy, they certainly had to have a lot of work to do to find just something. And this is kind of what I think Supremacy are doing these first couple of rounds, is just feeling them out. Seeing how EnD want to try and take their approach to Villa. What is their going to be that main goal for EnD in that long run? Do they want to put heavy emphasis on the C4s from below? Do they want to go for a heavy roam game? Are they more of an anchor team? This is what all Supremacy are doing, is just kind of probing the bomb site, I think, at this stage.
Don't forget also that Sparkso, I'm pretty sure, is the IGL at the moment for EnD. So, you know, having not seen the IGL in play means it's going to be a completely different team moving forward. And that is just really hard to deal with. But talking about Sparkso, the first one to go down. Alive will take him down. And Mantis will find another kill. There goes Elation. Torek just trying to hold on to the vault where he can. And over the sprays, Sloppy will get down alive. And they're in the site. Datix is in there. And he does take down Torek. Oh, that is site control. The Dockerby calls have gone out. Sloppy trying to make control where he can. And this is just looking really, really bad. Panics is going to try and attempt to retake it. Looks like on the other side. This is just push in. The smokes are going to go out, however. No Nitro left remaining on the clock, but there we go. Diffuser is going to start to go down from Poseidon. He gets off it here. Someone moving through, but Tans is going to take down Panics. It's all Sloppy, but he can't find one. Dages will take him down. And Supremacy will win yet another attack on Aviation.
I think Supremacy has starting to realize the weaknesses in the EnD defense, and that is the anchors at the moment. Torek and Elation, who are the only 2 members on bomb site, they're losing their gunfights very early on. Yes, we know that the roam game from Sloppy and Panics, they're great fraggers. We've already seen them do great work against the Supremacy lineup. In this scenario, I think Supremacy just say, just get Crossfire set up and we will refrag on bomb site, because they've realized that EnD want to go for this aggressive roam game. You know, Sparkso, he was roaming as well as Elysian. He paid for that. And then you also then had Panics and Sloppy, who were both non-bomb site, and retaking on Villa, like you stated during the first round, is an incredible task for the defenders.
Yeah, definitely. I think, just want to go back to that point you made during the last round about there's really no VOD review you can do about the current EnD lineup, right? And as a coach and an analyst, that's got to be really hurtful to try and do that, because it's going to be all about that mid-round adaptation. But I think as you go further into the rounds, as you said, Supremacy have definitely picked up the ball, and they're starting to realize what is really desperately wrong with the EnD's defenses. That they're very, very spread out, which is kind of a weird way to play Villa, right? I mean, we kind of see that if you looked at G2 versus the stream, it was very spread out there. And again, that match was a really weird way to play Villa. So you say that Villa's defender-sided, but it's kind of even at the moment.
Yeah, it's still going back and forth, which sometimes does happen with Villa, where teams are very evenly matched. And then I start to worry for EnD whenever Supremacy get their hand at a defense, because I think Supremacy are more well-suited for their defense on Villa. They certainly, I think, shown that quite well against Trust last week. There's a lot of things going against EnD. If EnD want to have a chance, I think at least a draw, I think they'd be happy to draw this scenario against Supremacy. They need these next 2 rounds in defense. They need to have that advantage, because if it goes to 3-2, or 3-3, should I say, I kind of suspect Supremacy will just steamroll the defense.
What? I think Sloppy is probably the craziest man in CL right now.
He is a madman.
Yeah, who is doing that? These guys jumping off the top ropes and just slamming people, but there we go. There goes Dejas. I wouldn't even be mad if I died like that. I'd just be absolutely amazed if someone just got away with that. But yeah, Sloppy's pulled off some pretty incredible kills so far, so well done for him. That's already going to turn into 4v5. That's already Zofia off the board, so I think that's pretty good in terms of like projectile usage. Because Supremacy relied quite heavily on the like Zofia charges going off and then jumping in and trying to kill the person who just got Zofia'd.
Deploying sensor.
They'll have a live below. And make things work, and potentially could get a lone nade being lobbed in, but I think he's going to be more well-suited for actually taking the fight to Sloppy and Panic, who, as we know, are going to be the roamers, just barely misses. That rotate from Sparks, who is now tucked away nicely in beside the cooker, but we see Brighton as well. K6 by Sloppy for Panics, gets the refrag, another one for Panics. Another nail into the coffin of the Supremacy lineup. Alive as well, he falls, the angle being held soft by the Legion. Poseidon, inside of a 1 versus 4. Tough Babe will be displaced, and look, the intel from Torek will be enough to give Poseidon no hope at all for taking this. More impact nades being tossed in, and Panic just says, you know what, let's get this round over and done with, as the Vigil comes in with a clean free K first.
I don't know if you saw what Panic actually did there, but from what it looked like and what was going on in the background, he just jumped off of the like skylight bit where Trophy is, and he just dropped down there into the hallway and he just eliminated him. But oh my god, I honestly, it is such an aggressive match from EnD, and this is not how Villa is played at all. Villa is all about just holding angles, really, and just, you know, pushing people through very tiny doorways and very long hallways, right? As we talked about with the Clash ban as well. The things I'm surprised we're not seeing from Supremacy's attack in this round and in the last round is we're not seeing a Jackal. We haven't seen any Jackal yet. Yeah. We're not seeing a Blackbeard anymore, and we're not seeing the IQ anymore.
I think they've realised that EnD have no intention of bringing the Echo, which is another big surprise for me. Like we've talked about, if Echo's on the board, it would be a bit of a no-brainer just to not pick him. So looking at the IQ switch, I think they want more of an impact in terms of competing with the players on bombs, and that's why they then have that Dokkaebi being brought in, simply to give that little bit of intel, a little bit of urgency to allow Supremacy to have an easier way of challenging those gunfights. This will be the last round for EnD in their defense, and this is one that they need to win. It's a must-win, because if it does go 3 rounds apiece, I still favor Supremacy going into the defense side.
Yeah, I'd still say it's been a very aggressive defense over from EnD, and because of that, I'm kind of surprised we're not seeing a pulse from their lineup, although, I mean, I think the pulse has been pretty successful for them, even though they got roam cleared out the last time they brought the pulse, and it kind of went badly there. He was still wasting a lot of time. Like, they had to go down and clear him. They sent 3 people to rotate when they had control of the site, just because there was a pulse downstairs, and if you're causing that much of a disruption when they have that much control, I think you're making a pretty big impact on the round, regardless if you actually get any kills or not.
Deciding on the Twitch this time, they've decided to sacrifice a hard breacher. That really, you have to look at Supremacy and their thinking, and they're really seeming to want to go for the kills more so than the actual open up the wall and push in. They've applied a lot of pressure already on the Sloppy, and eventually he will fall, and that will be the first logic bomb being put out by Tactus. So Panic still lurking with that Valkyrie, and Sloppy will be supporting him, or Sparks, as you say, will be supporting him inside of that hallway. This is a good position, I think, for Legion, because it gives them that same roaming potential that we know Sparks can produce with his gun skill, yet also can rotate quickly back on bomb site if things start to move south. Alive still below, hasn't really done anything so far. I think he's just waiting for the calls to be brought in, the intel. And at the moment, EnD have all the intel. They have the Valkyrie cameras still available for themselves. They have complete control of Kitchen, so that means a C4 from below is certainly on the cards.
More logic bombs are going to go down, but Elation can stay here as Supremacy still continue their roam clear, but they still haven't really found that many kills on the board. Only one onto Sloppy so far. There's a great roam game coming out from them, but they're not able to capitalize on it just yet as Torek takes down Tassis. This is looking very, very bad for Supremacy right now as Poseidon will try and trade it right on back. He's not going to find the angle, but does find the diffuser left on its own. He's going to try and rotate up onto the east stairs, but still very desperately in the form of EnD Gaming's heavy roam game as Panic takes down his teammate. It's going to be Poseidon in a 1v4 clutch situation. Using Twitch's F2, he's got all the frag power he needs, but not all the utility he needs right now. So he'll try and push around, but Elation with a prone peak is going to win the round out. End gaming take round number 6, and that desperate round that you said they needed demo, they are going to take it.
Now we move into the halfway mark. EnD have a lot of confidence. They have the morale. They have the steam behind them to try and give them this urgency. But of course, Villa is a defender-sided map. There's a lot of things that go well for the defenders simply because of the operators that is allowed in Villa. Maestro has always been a massive operator for Villa anyway. This is his map at the end of the day. And also another one which I'm quite surprised is we're seeing a lot of play from is the Legion. The reason why I think Legion is great on a map like Villa is because of the sheer size and the amount of different areas you can approach from as an attacker. We see Legion mines be used on certain bomb sites, but for Villa, I think he's great overall. Because the main reason I don't think that people play Legion is to, you know, possibly try and kill someone or try and slow them down, is for the sound indication, I think. You know, you kind of have that signature little ping that you get from the goo mines, and that distinctly gives you an advantage going into a gunfight.
I want to talk a little bit about that last round before we go into this one, where we didn't see any hard feature from the attack. I'm honestly not 100% against that because of how insanely aggressive EnD were being.
Yeah.
I mean, we see people, like, sloppies downstairs. We see, like, 3 people were off-site completely. I mean, we saw a pretty good drone whip as well coming up from the switch to get frags on the board early on. I'm not completely against it, but it didn't go well. I don't think it didn't go well just because of the no hard breach. I think it didn't go well because but we'll see how EnD take their attacks. I think that EnD are the slightly miscoordinated team here, even though they did very well in the defenses. I think they threw off Supremacy quite hard with how aggressive they were being.
Now we look at this, James, and this is new territory. Well, for me anyway, we're actually going to be seeing a library defense for the first time in, well, quite some time I've seen it anyway. And yes, library is a bomb site for Villa. It is usually the fourth pick that's really never played. And the whole thing I hate about this bomb site is simply that library side. As soon as you take control of one of those hard walls, and you have a cross-section cut off, there is so many areas you can plant behind that has hard cover that you cannot wallbang through. If you look over at that living room, there's a solid pillar that you can jump up on a desk and plant behind, and there is no way that you can get an angle onto killing that planter unless you toss out a C4, but at the same time, there is multiple angles that can be held on someone tossing a C4. So this is a bomb site that just isn't played because it's so easy to get a plant off.
Yeah, it is, and we talk about those long sidelines, and it's interesting you mentioned that this isn't really played that much, but Extreme actually did this quite a lot during the Invitational quals, and they threw off quite a lot of teams because of how weird the site is to take, and a lot of teams just weren't used to it. Maybe it works better at a lower tier. This tier, maybe not so much. I think a lot of teams would be much more aware, but, you know, Supremacy might just be taking apart the fact that EnD are not that coordinated, as it would seem. But I don't think they have the better good team. Like, this might act against them.
Yeah, Supremacy have took the quite weird approach, I would say, and they're looking to play a lot more aggressive on their actual defense, rather than trying to reinforce as many walls as you can, which I don't even think you can reinforce every single wall in this bomb site to begin with. So they've went with the more aggressive approach. They've opened up impact holes, they've tried to play a lot of light rotate flanks to try and go for those numerous impact grenades, and it's just not working for them, and has completely dismantled this. Poseidon finds one kill for his troubles, another one, but still an impactless kills nonetheless. He's stuck inside of a 1 versus 3 where the fuse are being planted, and all the players of EnD have to do is sit back, relax, hold their angles, and press mouse 1 whenever they need to, and Panics will do just that. Poseidon falls, and EnD Gaming, they take an even stronger lead as they go into this next round. 5 rounds to 2.
There was a weird flank coming up from Poseidon. The thing that shouts out from me from EnD is they brought a Valkyrie and they brought a Maestro, and they had no idea where that plant was going down.
But then again, there is an IQ and a Sophia on the side of EnD.
Yeah. But I mean, maybe it says more about EnD being able to clear out that intel quite well. But I still think that it was kind of like he did that flank just to try and get something going on the board. Like, they lost all their intel on the site. And that points out a really bad thing about that site, that it's very separated, right? That it's very easy for the attackers to come in and only have to deal with half of the utility, not all of the utility, right?
Yeah, if you look at that bomb site, the way that EnD Gaming went around it was, they took upstairs first of all, they cleared out any potential roamer, which they did, well played the name, Sloppy got that first frag, and they knew if they wanted to plant in library, all they needed to do was buck, I believe, the northwest corner, which is an area that we typically see an operator play because it has a lot of cover. Once they cleared out that from above, it was simple enough for them to open up a wall and walk in and plant at a blind spot. They had all angles covered. You can stop basically any flank maneuver coming in from that piano room. And that's what they did. It was very calculated. They seen the weaknesses. And it was so simple. It was really fluent from EnD. And Supremacy just... them thinking what went wrong.
I think it was mostly just, it was a weird bomb site for them. And I think have the really just a better gun skill. Maybe not coordination or strategy, but they definitely have better gun skill. They've definitely proven that before. Just the weird gunfights they've constantly been taking, the roam clear that's been unsuccessful with Supremacy during their defenses, now moving on to the attack for EnD. It's becoming even more obvious. When there's been early gunfights, EnD almost always come up on top, and this is just looking really, really bad. A 5-2 scoreline, I think most people would say this is pretty much over for Supremacy, but anything's possible, and Villa is insanely defender-sided, so once we see more kind of default sites going through, it should start to go better. Sparkso in the kitchen, he's being thrown down in and goes to the wallbang, but doesn't find it just yet. That could have been great from EnD, though. A great early.
I could have been really detrimental for the players of Supremacy. Again, I say it. For some reason, whenever teams in Villa take a first blood, they have such more of an advantage go into it, because simply there isn't the same amount of pressure you can apply if you're a man down. As soon as you know that, yes, we're on the back foot, you have to start playing as if you're on the back foot. You need to play a lot more defensive. Whenever we see a roamer get taken out early on, the other roamer that was with him usually just retracts back to bomb site and tries to just man up and front up the remaining attackers trying to push on towards bomb site, which, yes, is a strategy, it works. But then again, there's still then that whole thing about if someone goes for that late flank as that solo attacker and not having the other defender to try and front them up, it just doesn't work out.
Yeah, definitely. This could be K6 in a live. You find kills with that Supremacy, but one will be traded back. There goes the Pulse, and that's the Nitro off the board, but it's much more in the form of Poseidon. They're just holding a really suspicious angle here, but what are you doing? No! Oh, that's not good. You have no movement in the back. It's a really bad angle to hold, and Deja's just going to go down for it. This is not good. It's a 3v3, but it's only 35 seconds left to go on the clock. EnD have a great opportunity to try to push in, but they really are very separated right now.
That's why I usually play Jaeger Shotgun in that scenario. You know, just one-pump them. Torek will start to push up in towards the observatory, but that goo mine will be that trigger, that note that just allows Supremacy to know that, yes, observatory is looking pretty good for EnD Gaming. And it's aggressive in towards that bathroom will start his approach. Looking for anyone he can. Swings around the corner, will he see the mouse? Yes, he will, but no, Tactic shuts him down. A double forward to Alda. Torek inside of a 1 versus 3, nowhere to go. Alive will find the final kill. Oh my word. That should have been an end round.
How do you... that is really... That's going to be very annoying. That should have been a very... As you said, they should have won that pretty decisively. They kind of just threw it away because of timing. I also just want to point out just a very small thing. The Habana coming up Astro Stairs, that Legion Mine is so default.
Yep.
Everyone puts that Legion Mine down because of the vertical play that you can bring in. But the thing you do, and the thing that pretty much everyone does when they rotate up Astro Stairs, looking for that Legion Mine, because you know there's Legion on board because you just droned him, and you know he's putting top Astro because you just droned him bottom, is they always knife it. And you see, if you're getting caught by that Legion Mine, I don't think you're paying attention to what's happening in the game, honestly. So, there's like little tiny misplays like that that are going to affect your timing, and it all adds up.
Especially whenever you know that Panix is covering you to get rid of that goo mine. You put yourself at no risk at all for simply going for that. I think, maybe it's the lack of communication that comes back to for potentially with EnD, where maybe he didn't know Panix was holding that angle. He was scared that if he went for that knife, a running Legion would have jumped right on his head, but no, Panix was there covering you.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. I think EnD have definitely proven now that they have really, really good gun skill, but the thing that's going to hurt them here is timing. And Belo's a very, very hard map to attack. If you can't get the timing down right, I think you're going to lose a lot of these rounds. And I'm unsure if End's going to be able to tie out here. I mean, if anything, they'll probably get the round when they have to go to a weird site. But I don't know if they'll be able to get the win here, honestly.
So we head into our next bomb site, which is going to be Aviator and Games Room. So already we have seen 2 APG, and it did go one favor. Actually, I think both of them went in favor of Supremacy, where they took both attacks simply because the players of End were not holding their anchors well enough, and it was a very clean and easy execute for the players of Supremacy. This time, End, they will start to approach from that master bedroom side, whereas previously Supremacy, they liked to take from below. Sloppy with the first kill, getting good use out of that Jackal, and I'm sure those Inoxes will come in quite handy with trying to hunt players such as K6, who is lurking in the bottom basement. That's always a bit of a unique area that sometimes I love to see players play, simply because if you do get droned, there is so many rooms down here that you can hide in.
There are quite a lot of rooms, but Jackal being brought here pretty much brings him to a 4v5, and there we go, Sloppy easily picks him up. And I'm really surprised there was no Jackal coming out from Supremacy's attack at all. It's such a powerful roam clear, especially with how aggressive End we're playing. And now we see Supremacy paying for it. Drones are going to go out, but Alive quickly finding that one. And he's going to roam out back out of there. We still have a decent amount of utility on the board from Supremacy, but everyone is available right now from End Gaming. They have everything that they want right now. They're just about to get 90 control, but Poseidon is there, potentially with a pre-place Nitro. I don't think... No. Okay. That could have been a good opportunity, though, to get an early Nitro kill.
Cactus still with this LMG with the Alden, trying to play aggressive as he can. He knows that he needs to try and stop the bleeding in any way he can. Poseidon as well will be tagged by those Inox, and unfortunately for the Maestro, he will be eliminated by the IQ. And, well, 4 players stacked up outside of that doorway, and the defuse will start to come in. Poseidon still has his C4. He could have went for the toss, but no. We'll just sit back as everything else will fall around him. Diffuser has been planted, and from this scenario, Supremacy are going to have to play pretty light on their feet to make this work. C4 will get tossed out, but nothing comes off it. Could we see the defuse as Alive starts sticking with it? Poseidon still on it, and yes, we're going to see the defuse. What a play from the old man himself. Poseidon pulls one out of the bag. He shows the young boys how it's still done, and you can teach an old dog some new tricks.
What a disaster. This is the thing I don't understand, Emma. It's that entire floor is destructible, right?
Yeah.
The diffuser went down, and everyone from End just ran to the other side of the building. There was no one going downstairs. Well, sorry, no. One person did go downstairs, but there was no vertical play that was opened up. And, oh my word, how do you allow that to happen? You have a man advantage. Just throw people at the site. You can easily trade that out. And, oh, I think that for the first time in a while, End was scared of Supremacy.
Whenever I've seen 4 players stack up outside one door, that's whenever I started to get worried for End, simply because they're not spacing themselves out. You need to have multiple angles if you want to go in for an attack. If you look at it, all 4 players were stacked up outside one door. All it takes is one castle holding one angle, and that eliminates any fact of you actually managing to stop the defuse.
You think maybe a big thing as well is that they knew that Valkyrie still had a C4 on the board, and they're like, get the diffuser down. Okay, everyone just evacuate. Just run away. Because they're trying to get rid of that, spacing factor, right? But the fact that they did that and they rotated so far away, and then the Nitro got ripped, so they're even more aware of it, so now they know they can't. They put themselves into a really unwinnable situation, and it's kind of weird that the fact that the Nitro wasn't used in the plant means that it eventually comes around to save in a way.
You have to give credit, though. I think Poseidon went for such a risky play, but that was his only option he had. And then also Castle holding the angle. If it wasn't for Castle getting that kill, which, again, like you talked about, kind of made End back away. They didn't want to challenge that. And I actually don't think they knew Poseidon, because Poseidon hid him going for the defuse animation with the explosion from the C4.
No, yeah, definitely very right. It was really well played by Supremacy, don't get me wrong, but it's so many mistakes made from EnD to allow that to happen. As I always say, someone has to make the mistake for someone to capitalize on it, and it definitely goes both ways in Rainbow.
We move into our next bomb site, and this is where Supremacy, they're starting to pull back round after round. They've took 2 rounds on the bounce at the moment, and they will be looking for their kitchen attack, their first kitchen attack that they will have, and they will be setting up for it. I'm quite curious to see how they're going to use Sloppy. I'd imagine they're bringing the Jackal, yes, as a good tool to get rid of roamers, but also that sidearm shotgun could be used as that substitution for the Sledge or the Buck.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen a book pretty much every attack round from Supremacy, so it's interesting to see the no book coming out, but we still have a lot of soft destruction on the table from EnD. They do have the Jackal, and of course they do have the Zofia as well. So there's definitely potential here. Also, I mean, Habana could bring breach charges, but no, actually, I think Habana can bring.
Habana has he has flashbangs and a claymore.
Yeah. My bad. So yeah, like probably flashbangs from Torok here. So yeah, there's still a decent amount of soft destruction that likes to happen, but EnD definitely did suffer with a lack of soft destruction, and not having as much for a downstairs site could potentially punish you here.
Titan still has that Nitro Cell you have to keep in mind, and whenever the time is starting to tick away for EnD, that could be the decisive factor. They also have DJs on the mute. They're going to try and sacrifice the smoke in favor of the other SAS operator, and he will use his Nitro Cell to get things picked off on a kill to elation. Sloppy will try and play aggressive along with Torek as he finds alive, but Sparcho is there with the refrag, and Panics also finds tactics. Kills come in strong from EnD Gaming, but still 2 alive. DJs and Poseidon. Poseidon holding the soft angle will counter DJs as he almost got right on by the players of EnD, and it goes into a 1 versus 2, a 1 versus still. Wow, Poseidon pulls out of nowhere along with the Jews as EnD Gaming fall. Are we casting a match up house all of a sudden with the kills that come in?
I have absolutely no idea what's been happening here. It seems to be all about EnD Gaming's timing. They waste so much time going to other places. The only successful attack they have is the one that's coming right up. Oh no, it's not. They're actually going to go to Trophy, which is good. I'm glad the Supremacy didn't go back down to Living Room, because that would have been pretty devastating for them. They're going to go to Trophy, so that is definitely good. This is looking pretty bad for EnD. The fact that Supremacy completely turned this around is obviously a testament to their skill, considering that a lot of these rounds have been pretty damn close, as well as the last couple of rounds as well. But also a big testament to the way that EnD had been playing this, and that they're clearly not as practiced as Supremacy as a team together. And if you're gonna take a team like that anywhere, Villa's probably where you want to take it.
We have seen massive teams fall to Villa. For no reason, underdogs just seem to be good at this map. I think a big thing to take away was Team Secret versus G2. They took them to Villa. You know, G2 just came off the back of winning Rio. They looked untouchable. And somehow Team Secret, who, yes, we know, fell very hard down in the standings, they still took a map like Villa.
Yeah, no, that's definitely very true indeed. So I think that it's a big testament to Villa as a map. It's pretty defender-sided, but I think a big reason because of that can throw teams off, and it makes them be maybe a little bit more patient than they normally are. Like, we've definitely seen that from EnD. Like, they're wasting so much time on a roam clear and getting kind of pointless control, honestly. Whereas Supremacy haven't really been playing too aggressively, but now we do see a pulse coming out from K6 right below Panics. He could get a great early kill here, actually.
This is what I like to see. I love to see double Nitro Cells. Simply because if EnD are always looking to run down the clock, similar to what Team Vitality like in their playstyle, then that's where the deniability of Nitro Cells come in so big. However, already, one of those Nitro Cells will be scratched off the board as Poseidon, he does get fell. Looking
and the other one's basically going to scratch off the board as well, because now he's getting Jackal tracks, he's going to deal with Society.
You have to remember, this is the trophy that EnD almost nearly had. Thought this should have been a pure EnD round, but somehow, somewhere, we've seen Tactics on the Maestro pull off massive kills for himself. K6 does find Panics as Sparkso and him tried to play aggressive in towards B, knowing that there's going to be no barbed wire, quite surprisingly, since we know that they did sacrifice the barbed wire in favor of the nitro cells.
Oh my god, Sparks are gonna run in, doesn't get the 2k, they just shuts him down before he can do anything, and now it's a 2v2. Torque and Elation left remaining on the clock, as you see Capitao and Habana trying to make their moves into the site, but they got plenty of time left remaining, and Torque's gonna make good advantage of that, and he's gonna go for the drone to see what exactly is happening here. This is a very dangerous situation for Supremacy to be in right now, because there's a lot of utility on the board, and they don't really have much of their own. The Fuser is in the hand of Torque, so really, they still are very much on the defense right now, and they haven't really managed to gain too much of advantage. They've lost both of their Nitros, of course, as well as their Maestro, so they've got really no plant denial, and that's going to be a big factor going into these last few seconds.
But this will be the two best fraggers, I would say, for Supremacy, going up against the two weaker fraggers of EnD Gaming, so you would like to imagine the gun skill will carry Supremacy through this round, as Dejuice from an aggressive inside of Observatory, as the two attackers will start to enter their way in through Observatory as well. Alive holding this off angle. There's 4 goo mines right beside him. So if one of those does go off, well, whoever it is, we're going to be in for a world of hurt. First utility will be sent out. That Capitao bolt gets him in Observatory, but it comes down to the kills. Dejuice heads behind the bomb. This should be an easy kill for the Jaeger. As he falls down, will manage to get the down onto the Capitao, and Alive will clean up. Amazing work from Supremacy, as on their defense, they have just took 4 rounds on the trot.
This is going absolutely amazing well for Supremacy. They're dominating the space on EnD Gaming. EnD Gaming, again, with the timing, with the lack of utility usage coming out from them, we kind of just see a lot of people just droning themselves in and trying to get quick carries. I mean, we saw Sparkso do just that, where he saw where the Jaeger was and tried to go for a quick frag. He heard the call coming through 90, and now he's trapped between 2 people with no one there for a trade. And EnD Gaming just seem really separated right now, and there's been a lot of opportunities where they could have got into the site very quickly, but yeah, I think this is just coming down to the fact that EnD rely really heavily on their entry, and once that entry does their job, they tend to gain a really early lead. I mean, you said it yourself, right? If you get that first entry on Villa, the round tends to go your way.
Yeah, for the most part, I think that Villa, whenever you're down that man advantage, you literally have to change the playstyle. You cannot go for the potential aggressive roam game that you would like to. So you really have to put a lot of players on bomb site. And whenever Villa, we know that the refrag potential on Villa is great, because a lot of the rooms are very small. There's not a lot of different positions you can sit that isn't out in the open. So whenever you do know, whenever your teammate gets killed from an area, you'll probably know where it is anyway.
Yeah, you definitely will. It's pretty easy to trade on those last few seconds, just because of how contained the site tends to be. The bombs are very close to each other. It's a pretty small site overall, normally, other than you've talked about library, and we talked about that a little bit already. Dangers is trying to play some really weird angles in this bathroom, man. It did not work well for him last time. I'll be amazed if it works well for him this time.
Personally, if he's going to play aggressive inside a bathroom, where's your Vigil? I would like to see Vigil here.
I actually wouldn't mind, like, an ADS here, if you're really going to try and hold the bathroom. I don't think he has one.
Oh, he got one. Oh! Still, somehow, he managed to get the kill onto Sloppy before being traded off by Panics.
What? How are you kidding me? How do you let that happen? Oh no, that is an absolute disaster. You know he's there. That's such a free kill. I mean, at least it's a trade, so it's not that bad, but anytime a Jaeger is getting traded out, that's like a free opportunity for the defenders to affect the attacker's utility in quite a big way, and having your Nomad go down could eventually affect quite a lot here, because we saw that EnD Gaming got successfully a plant down last time. A Nomad would have been a great opportunity to deny the retake.
Still a 4 versus 4 is how it goes as we hit the 1 minute and 20 seconds mark. Alive playing inside of living room as much more of an aggressive roamer. We typically don't see our Legions being played downstairs for an AVG defense. But does he know that the Twitch will be right beside him? But Alive is so hell-bent on holding that one angle. I think he hears the movement. Yes, he does, and he will find that Twitch. Alive, lurking in the shadows, will find his prey and Sparkso. Where's those Twitch drones, bud?
Get
Not happening too well for him right now, as K6 will try and play around where he can. Vault will start to get opened up by Torek. And, I mean, EnD have everything they need to win this round, but Alive's going through a pretty devastating flank right now. No one is watching him. No one seems to be knowing that he's even here. He's going to crash all the way through. He has a great opportunity, and he will take it. There we go. Torek is going to go down. That's Habana off the board. That's a huge, huge pick coming out for Supremacy right now. So few charges go down, but Tactics cleans up House Elation, and Pints go down. And Supremacy will take round number 12, and they will take the series 7-5.
Well, that was a 5-round sweep for Supremacy. My oh my, that just shows villain. That just shows villain in essence, where literally your defense, you can pull the momentum ahead. And like we expected, we knew it was going to be a big task for EnD. But unfortunately, I think whenever they just started getting fell behind,